So I want to welcome you to the ACF, American Culinary Federation Chefs of Charlotte monthly meetup. We're meeting here today at Biz on Wheels to talk about food trucks and how to build them and how to put your menus together. We are an organization of chefs here in Charlotte. We're 120 members strong. We have a monthly meetup every month somewhere different within the area. So come out and join us. You can check us out on Facebook, Instagram, or you can check us out at acfchefs.org.
Hey, I'm Chef Mark, work out here in the Charlotte area. Just came out to Biz on Wheels to see this event. Real helpful. Got to speak to my man back there building all this great stuff. It's excellent. Sometimes you always think you need to go big or go home, but sometimes, you know, things come in a small package. So that was one of the big tools I learned today, and I appreciate that very much. Thank you, boss man.
My idea for tonight's education was, of course, food truck. I've had two of them. I met Ron almost 7 years ago now. Ron Yeller, he's going to go over his part of the presentation after I kind of go what happens in building a truck. But how cool is this to be presenting actually off a food truck? You know, they've come a long way. From when I was growing up, they used to be called the grease trucks. And they used to be parked at Rutgers University. I know you know where they're at. So they were stationary, they didn't move. You went out there at 2 o'clock in the morning and got some greasy food. Now, look at this one. I mean, it's absolutely gorgeous. Some of the other ones that are through here, a couple weeks ago, there was one here that had a huge marquee on it. It was amazing. Ron will go over all that later. But this one, education on what, I'm gonna be going back and forth, but we're gonna be on that top screen up there is where we're gonna be. All right? So Food Truck 101, what do you have to do to get a food truck going? We're going to go over a business plan, how to write one. I'm not going to go word by word for it, but some of the things where you're going out to get it. How do we get funding? How do we get money for this thing? Where do we get all this? How to build this thing? Where do you go to financing? All this, we're going to go through from the top to the bottom, from incubation of this idea that everyone has to actually getting out there and selling, and how do we get out there and sell? Everybody thinks business plan, they're like, oh my gosh, I got this formal thing, I gotta turn around, I gotta give this to certain people, they gotta look at it. You know what, in the beginning, just calm down. Just write their ideas down on a piece of paper. Okay, just write some ideas, just start somewhere. Okay, you don't have to get this thing in a huge, perfect structure. It doesn't, right? When you start going, when you start looking at this, we gotta start somewhere. What are we gonna be? I'm gonna be a business. What kind of a business? Am I gonna be an LLC, an LLP, a C Corp, S Corp? Does anybody know what all that stuff mean? That to me, when I started looking at all this, it scared the crap out of me, all right? I didn't know what an LLC was. I was 21 years old, I didn't know what that stuff was. What's an S Corp? What's a C Corp? Where does it all go? So, where do you plan on operating this business? What are your hours? Are you gonna be stationary? Are you gonna be mobile? Are you gonna be state to state? Are you gonna be county to county? All that has to come into play. This is what you start writing things down. Someone give me a roundabout figure what a brand new truck costs.
50,
80,
80,
70,
basically.
try about 100, anywhere between 80 to whatever the heck you got your wallet in. I mean, just a brand new truck this day without anything in it is how much, Ron? 60 grand. That's an engine. That's it. We all know how much economy costs. We all know how much fryers cost. That stuff gets expensive, and it has to fit in this thing. All right, so these LEDs, these TVs, all this stuff, all this extra stuff, you know, all comes with a price. So we have to kind of figure all that anticipated. I mean, the build from start to finish, from conception to business plan to getting money, I mean, it can take a year to 2 years. All right. I know when we first built ours, and I keep referring to my truck, but it's not, it's the Carowinds truck, but I did build that truck. Me and Ron worked together really hard on it. Conceptually designed it, did everything like that. It took almost a year and a half when we built that truck, from start to finish. Now granted, I didn't have to go to get all the funding and do anything like that. It was already there for me. So that was nice. Look around and see what you want to sell. What's your marketing analysis? You know, do we need another taco truck in Charlotte? Do we need another, you know, that kind of stuff? If you are going to do a taco truck, what separates you from the next taco truck? What kind of permits and certificates and licenses that you need to start a truck? This is the list. All right. I'm going to show you all my share all my research at the end. You need a business license. You need an employee ID number. You need a driver's license, a food handler's permit, a health department permit, commissary letter of agreement. We all know that in North Carolina, you cannot just stick this thing on the side of your house and work out of it. You physically have to be tied to somebody that's a brick and mortar that has a food license. You cannot cook, prep, and do everything in this truck. It has to be done at another location. So you have to see where that is. Your standing this is something new. The standard operating procedures document, that's been going around more and more. They want to know what you're doing in this truck on a daily basis, okay? You have to have that type of license explaining to the regulatory facility saying that this is how we operate here. This is how we cook our chicken. All that has to be done per menu item. So that's a new thing that more and more places to just go out there and get that ready. Fire certificates, parking permits, special event permit, certificate of insurance, coverage on your auto. So you need auto insurance on this, and then general liability insurance. Just there, I know it would take me months to get all that stuff together. I mean, I already got driver's license, but you don't have to have a special license for these trucks. They are kind of big to drive, especially when you're doing 80 miles an hour and the tire blows. That's fine. But you do not need a special, not that I know, right, Ron? There's no special licenses for these trucks. And they're heavy. And you got to know how to stop these things. You need to know when to turn and who cuts you off and who doesn't. You need to know your speed. You need to know how wide you are, how tall you are. I mean, there's some things, but you don't need a special license to go through it. You can go, right now, I just found out that there is a Ford company that will actually fund your entire project with capital and everything. So you go to Ford, and if you go to the company that's building it, like Biz on Wheels here, they can help you get all that at a small percentage rate. You can actually they'll fund the entire project if you buy a Ford vehicle, and then put everything in it. All right. I thought that was awesome. That wasn't available when I was trying to go find used trucks or buy this or whatever. Ford got smart. Got into it, and they think it's going to get big. I agree it would be big. I mean, I don't know who wouldn't want to jump on that, but that's something that the builder can help you do that. When you start looking at this, and you want to go build a truck now, you got all your ideas, you got everything going, you're looking at it like, where do I go? There's a lot of builders out there. Biz on Wheels does an exceptional job with what they do. So you want to build a reputable builder. Don't find these guys on Craigslist somewhere that said, I'll build you a food truck because you'll have wavy things, you won't pass inspection, they'll take it up to wherever, and all of a sudden your water lines are 2 inches too high, you got to rip everything out and everything's got to be lowered. Or you don't have the proper hood system, or you don't have whatever else, okay? Make sure you go with a reputable builder. In the long run, you'll be much happier, okay? Look at blueprints, they can do CAD drawings. Let others look at your project, all right? Maybe they have ideas that you've been staring at for the last year. They can say, hey, you need to move this over here, all right? Have the other people look at it. Make sure what kind of truck you want. Electric vehicles are new. Everybody wants to be low emission. Everybody wants to be, you got to think about air conditioning. You got to think about signage. You got to think about Wi-Fi. How are you going to take your POS, Square, PayPal? All that stuff has to come into play. All right, so don't forget about thinking about other stuff on there.
We do trucks anywhere from trailers from $35,000 all the way to $250,000. We just finished a $250 million job maybe last week. Majority of normal people will do $80,000 to $100,000. The problem with the market today, used trucks are not available. There is no used truck. The only way we can do it right now is new trucks. We're very limited. And then we finance it. I think the most important thing on trucks are the truck itself mechanically is number one, and this is what the cost is, the truck. The second part is going to be the name brand of equipment, and then believe it or not, generator is one of the biggest expenses. Most people thinking buying a generator and putting a bumper and making noise like you see at an event. This is not that. This is a generator that can run 3,000 to 4,000 hours before you even service this thing. It can go constantly running non-stop. It's built to run. It's very quiet as well. So when you stand next to the truck, you're not gonna even know there's a generator running in the truck. And this is the difference between over $100,000 truck and less than that. I guess the budget coming there. We build anywhere from propane under mount. There's no more propane on the back like tank engine and stuff like that. Propane under mount, water tank under mount, waste tank under mount, generator under mount. We have fuel tank on the other side to run the generator, also under mount. We got gauges to show you how much fuel you got. So this is a completely different from normal. Also the window on this truck is what's called all-in-one marquee style. The TV built into it. So we manufacture this trailer from ground up. We can actually build the frame. We license up to 30 feet trailers. We do big ones. And trailers are the new story, I guess. We can do them $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 fully loaded trailers.
You do your own graphics too, right?
Yeah, so we print this wrap. Yeah, good question. We print this wrap, we wrap them. We have printed, we do high resolution 3M. As you see, it looks like paint, but it's a wrap. This is high quality wrap. And we can pretty much wrap any vehicle or trailer, or sometimes we do partial wrap as well, but this is a full wrap. And we have a graphic designer, he can design whatever it is, and then put it on the truck, of course.
Would you recommend, if I had a used truck and I brought it to you to say, hey, can you gut it out, put in what I want, is that possible, or you prefer from scratch?
You know, honestly, and I see it a lot, and I can show you next to this truck is a mistake somebody made. If you want to buy a truck, buy a completely empty truck, nothing inside. They brought us a vehicle loaded, and I showed the pictures, and the floor felt funny.
There was mushrooms growing out of the floor.
Yeah. And we had black mold in the walls from water. And then they had to spend a lot of money to get rid of this black mold and restart from the beginning. So I think it's a mistake, because most builders, and we do it, most people don't do it, but we do it because the insurance issue. We will walk you and show you what we do. We will take you to the back of the shop and show you how we do it. The reason is, when you buy a used truck, you do not know what's going on behind the walls. There's no way for you to dig in and look at it. You're just gonna guess what you buy. The lady next door to us, the next truck, she could not pass inspection, not only from the health department. It was actually literally dangerous to walk in. The floor was off. You can actually fall as you walk in. It was so uneven, everything. So we have to gut everything out, and we have to redo it. But some of the things you really gotta be careful. I'm not saying there's a lot of good builders out there, but you gotta watch what you're doing. That's all it is.
Are you seeing anything as far as any trends in ventless equipment? So no ventilation and all electric?
The problem is electric. Electric
Absolutely.
is very expensive.
Yep.
Roughly, we calculate almost $1.50 to $2 a watt. So we don't want to go more than 12,000 if we don't want to.
Okay.
So it's better to go propane on everything, and we have plenty of propane here. We can run it for 2 weeks straight on this propane.
Yeah.
Even the convection oven in this one, you can look, is propane. So stay away from electric as much as you can. Even the water heater is propane.
What about air conditioning? You can get propane air conditioning?
Yeah, air conditioning is a problem. Air conditioning gotta be electric. This is one of the biggest problems. At the same time, one air conditioner will not do it. You gotta do multi air conditioning. This is when you get expensive because you make the electrical higher. So you gotta do ventilation as well. You gotta do makeup air, like this one there, makeup air, exhaust fan, ventilation, air moving all the time. There's a lot of things we do and the problem with these food trucks, especially the way we do it, because we do spray insulation, so we seal tight the body really good. When you turn the exhaust fan out, literally there is so much vacuum in this vehicle you cannot open the door. You're not going to be able to open the door. So we have to reduce the static pressure, we put the makeup air to reduce, and then we also circulate this air out, so you have a lot better low temperature inside. Some of the things we have to do, and this is, the counties, believe it or not, they don't look at this stuff. Yeah. County care about code, water, gas, stuff like that. This is more comfortable.
How important is it to I mean, I'm hearing how these guys have all been able to reduce the footprint of the size of the truck. How much of that is due to the fact that you guys are professionals at laying out equipment in a mobile food service? Explain the difference between that and then if somebody just had a shell of a truck and wanted to lay it out themselves.
So 90% of the time, new people that never been in a food truck want to do the biggest thing out there. They go huge. They want to put a crazy amount of equipment they don't even use probably down the road. So we have Catwalk we work. It's a 3D software. And we actually sit with the customer face to face. And then we start laying everything down on a catwalk. And then visual is easiest way to do it because you can explain it all day long, but until they see it, very hard to kind of imagine. So we sit down one-on-one, and believe it or not, my job is to reduce the size because it doesn't mean bigger is better. You know, we want you to be successful in the long run. If you spend money on things you don't need and you lose money because of that, it's not good for us as well. So we try to keep it as close to normal as possible. Working with the customer, walking into different units, do the catwalk, and then of course, some equipment, they really don't need to be in the truck. Some people want to put stuff that don't belong in trucks. So you have to advise them what to do and not to do. I'll give you an example, the simplest thing, convection oven. You can buy a regular convection oven, really cheap, considerably to this stuff right here. It's probably $2,000-3,000 a new one. But this thing is jumbo, huge, deep, monster. I can get one of these small ones that will save me the size of a hood, the size of the truck, and weight. Yeah, it's a little more expensive, but when you put it all together, it makes sense. Yeah, it's a little convection turbo fan.
Yeah.
And you have steam ability as well. It's a very small footprint, it's only a 30-inch wide. So these are some of the things, you know, we go into when we do floor plan. Always reducing the size, putting the right equipment in. We look at power, we look at electrical. So many things we involved here that we want to reduce from, because especially people come from restaurant business, and they mind, you know, it's, you have electrical, you have water, you have everything, you just got to buy the equipment. Over here, everything we're depending on generators and propane and other stuff like that. So there's some of the things we have to do planning on, a lot.
So you said weight. You have to have weight limits on these for DOT?
Yeah, this is a
well?
20,000 GVW. We can load around 6,000-7,000 pounds. So 6,000-7,000 pounds, we can put 6,000-7,000 pounds in one spot. We gotta divide it so the truck, you see this truck is pretty straight. We don't want it to be leaning. You see some trucks, you see it leaning to the right because they put too much equipment on one side. So this is some of the design we have to do to make sure the truck is level. Because you have oil in a fryer and you stand somewhere, it's always cricket, it's a problem. So some of the design we have to do. In some cases, we put suspension on them. When we don't have a choice, we can beef the suspension and level the truck.
And if you go to bizonwheels.us, there's some YouTube videos of some of the trucks that he's built. I highly recommend this gentleman. He's a wealth of knowledge when it comes to this truck or anything that has to do with food. I don't know if he cooks. I've never seen him cook, but he can definitely.
I can eat.
Yeah. But this guy here, he's very, very knowledgeable when it comes to these vehicles. I don't know anybody else that I've met over the last, 7 years now? We've known each other almost. Amazing wealth of knowledge. So please use them up. So.
Tonight's event was super awesome. My first time coming. I'm new to Charlotte, but I really enjoyed myself. Very informative. A lot of information was given out. A lot of great people are here. The food trucks are awesome on the inside. It's like a dream, literally. But it's really great. I'm glad I came. Me and my husband were here, and we'll be back again, definitely.
People so great, awesome. I want to speak in Spanish. Todo está muy bien. Todo perfecto, la gente son muy amables, aprendimos mucho para los camiones de comida y más, nos dieron comida hoy, más de ahí no se puede dañar. Muchas gracias.
Thank you.
Thank you.